David from the Redneck Garage. Finally some sun, and we can work on the Jeep today. Goals for today are to get another coat of primer on the hood, the cowl primered again, so we can wet sand all that down. Worked on our tailgate yesterday, and I bought some, or I had some actually, some fiberglass cloth. And I'm going to cut a short strip that goes across the bottom of the door panel where that metal was gone. We're going to fiberglass that in just to give it a little more support. It's covered by the gasket anyway, so we won't see it, but the fiberglass will give it a little more oomph to the bottom. We got our fiberglass resin. We have our clear activator, which is the same activator that you use in your polyester primer. And so let's get going on that. Okay, so we've got a rust preventative, and it dried up real nice across the bottom here, and you can see where the metal is just gone. So we're going to lay in a fiberglass strip across the bottom here, and pour fiberglass in, and that will cover that up. And we might get another year or two out of this. It might be 5 years, who knows? But I'm not going to replace this right now. We're just going to shoot it, be done with it. So fiberglass is a lot like Bondo. Once it's activated, you have to use it. And one strip across should do it. So I'll just cut me a thin strip. So we're going to mix up our fiberglass. And it's just liquid, really. I'm going to put some gloves on for this because it's nasty. It gets in your fingers. So we got our strip. And we got the fiberglass ready. I'm going to go ahead and add my activator and stir it up. It doesn't need a lot. The more you add, the hotter it'll be. So we're going to stir it up well. And I'm going to add just a little bit of resin across the bottom. Make it sticky. And I'm going to take my cloth and I'm going to just kind of impregnate it with the fiberglass. Okay, it's like a boat, really. It's exactly like working on a boat. We're going to lay this in across the bottom. Okay, now that I've got my cloth in, I'm just going to pour this into the bottom section. Okay, and then once that hardens up, we'll have a good bottom surface on there, and it'll be hard and fiberglass, and it'll kind of give a continuity between the two surfaces, and it can be sanded down just like Bondo. Okay, I've thinned down my primer with acetone, and it's thinner. Absolutely shootable, you know, without a doubt. Okay, it's activated. And I'm going to bring out my old faithful gun and see how this one shoots. Make sure the activator is mixed up well. Alright, it's time for a Bud Light Lime after this. Okay, we've made pretty good progress today. If you look at the bottom of the tailgate, the fiberglass is about hard. It looks really good where the gasket will cover it. We've got our hood, and it's in primer, and you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, but I can tell you that it's much, much smoother than the last time that I put primer on it, so it should be easy to sand out. Hopefully we've got all our low spots filled in. And the same with the cowl. It looks great. It's got a bunch of primer on it. It's going to have to dry out, and then we'll block sand that down. That'll be ready for paint. Then we block sand this fender, prep this side, get the doors done, and we're shooting some paint. So I'm going to have me a beer break and then decide what I want to do next. So then at that point I took my dry guide coat, put it on the hood, started wet sanding, and I have a little metal fitting on the end, like a little spray nozzle, and I was pulling it around the hood and I dropped that and it hit in the center of the hood, and sure as heck it put a dent in it. So this is the kind of crap you got to deal with. And let's see, at that point I threw the sanding block and there was a lot of dirty words and I sounded like Jerry there for a minute. So I just said to heck with it, came inside and watched TV with my kids for a while. I just cleaned up outside. That's the kind of stuff that you got to deal with when you're doing body work. You know, there's going to be stuff that just makes you really mad, like the primer not going on right. But I'm mad at myself for denting the hood. I've already put some polyester filler in it. It wasn't a huge dent. It was like more of a ding, but you know, it was enough that I had to fix it. So I'll have to sand that down. We're going to be putting some more primer on it. It actually was blocking out fairly well. There was a few little minor spots where I probably could have just hit it with a primer one more time, block sanding it being ready, and then I just jacked it up. So there you go. The Redneck Garage was not a happy place to be after that. I don't have a lot scheduled tomorrow, so I'm hoping that I can do a little bit more on the Jeep before I have to go to work. Any questions or comments, post them below. David from Redneck Garage. Have a good night.